So this is us. We're gonna do a live stream, Angus. We have no idea whether we're on.
That's all I know. We're on.
We have absolutely no idea whether this is working or not. Welcome. We think you have no idea how the last 20 minutes has gone. We have had cameras go on. We have cameras go off. We don't actually even know whether the microphone is recording what I am saying, and this could be some use for the live chat, which I'll get to in a second. But if you can hear me and if you can see me, this is the Nero tour spin. It's the preview episode. Angus is nodding his head, so I think this might be getting out. We have blown the Nero budget. We have gone cross live.
Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon's on board. We are out there. We're
Yeah,
actually
we're
going. Okay. So welcome to episode 1. I am joined by my co-host / special guest, Mr. Angus Calder. Angus, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here for the first Nero tour spin live YouTube. Never done this before. I thought it'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah, you really regretted going on that ride with me during the week, didn't you?
I'm not going to say that out loud.
No, fair enough. So guys, look, here is the plan. I mentioned this during the week. This is not going to be about who is winning and who is losing and the time gaps and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of more about, well, people who really like bike racing talking about, well, the biggest bike race of the year. And I, for one, am pretty excited about the tour. Angus, what are your thoughts?
Pretty G for this one. I mean, I've always been interested in the tour, all the grand tours, that kind of thing. But this one in particular, I think, is really going to be pretty exciting. It's set up for a very exciting race. A lot of in terms of the people, the course. I think it's going to be pretty spectacular this year.
It should be a good one. Now, like guys, two things before we kind of get cracking in what we want to do. There is a live chat, believe it or not. It is unmoderated at this point in time. If you're in the app, it probably just appears, I think, in front of you. If you're on the web, it kind of appears to a panel to the side of it. And yes, we can actually see what you're saying. Good evening, Elizabeth. It's lovely to have your company. And the other thing I was going to mention is the jersey. Yes, I'm going to try and wear a different jersey for every episode of this thing. Tonight is a very, very special jersey. It's Darcy Allen Norton's jersey from the Tap 2 years ago, signed by
the great man, Chris Froome himself.
There he is, Chris. He was just back there in the Champs-Élysées a minute ago, and we caught up for a quick signature.
Just a recon of the last stage, yeah.
That's right, absolutely. So, what we thought we'd do, hopefully if this works, Luke's going to give me a thumbs up if it's going to work, is, he's just done this, is we're going to try and go through the teams really quickly. And the plan here is we're going to go through the teams that are the 22 teams in the Tour de France this year. We're going to go through them and we're going to try and tell you guys like what they're doing there. Because they're not all there to win.
Everyone's got different aspirations, different goals. And it's interesting to know why. I mean, when I first got into cycling, obviously I thought I was surprised someone like Mark Cavendish, who's currently chasing the Tour stage win record, has never won a yellow jersey. I thought it was very strange. So we might just clear a couple of things up like that for a few of the viewers.
We'll set that record straight. Now I should quickly mention that the person who is actually putting all this in front of you right now has just walked away. And we were about to throw to something that I was hoping he would actually put up on the screen for us. Unfortunately, he does seem to have currently disappeared, which will mean that I have to talk about something, and he's come back, which means that hopefully we can now no, Jesse, we are not racing at the Tour this year.
Maybe really keywords this year. Maybe in a couple of years we'll get our things together, get the budget up a little bit, and then before you know it, we'll...
well, we're buying most of it on this trip to Paris.
We have. I mean, airfare tickets, airfare's pretty expensive these days, especially when you fly first class. But yeah, you gotta get there somehow.
Yes, both.
super domestique mode.
Should be back.
Hopefully helping him out. I reckon Richie's got a genuine shot this year. I'd love to see him get up for a win. He is contending for first overall and nothing else. I mean, he's not here to come third.
Next up, and hopefully you can hear me, is Bora. Now this is the first of our split teams. Definitely a split between Rafael Micah and Peter Sagan. Sagan will be chasing some of the sprint stages. Rafael Micah, is he going for an overall? I don't really believe it. Probably more of maybe a stage, or even the polka dot jersey could be a possibility for someone like him. But it's another one of these split ones.
Cofidis, very much going to be looking for the breakaways. Very interestingly enough, not sure why, maybe a political reason, they have not taken their most highly paid rider and best sprinter in Nasser Bouhanni, which is quite surprising. I mean, he would be someone who'd contest a lot of sprint stages. So here, you've got a lot of breakaway specialists, a lot of people, a lot of opportunists. Look out for guys like Daniel Navarro. He's probably up there with some of the strongest riders in this race. So don't be surprised. They're one of the strongest teams in the world.
And we have audio back, and just in time to hear the Dimension Data need a win seriously. And they've come here with one goal, and that is Cav. Personally, I really hope he does do something here, guys. But this team is there for that reason and that reason only. They are not chasing yellow jerseys. They are realistically probably not chasing a green jersey. They want stages with Mark. I think he needs 4 more to equal Merckx.
Yep, thereabouts.
That is why he is there.
Very strong team around him as well. Direct Energy, very similar to Cofidis. I mean, very much a stage hunter team. You've got Lilian Kalmajan would be their flagship rider, I would say. I mean, he won a stage last year, a mountain stage, no less, just ahead of Robert Hessink. I would say I wouldn't be too surprised to see those guys up right at the front of the race in long breakaways, going in the early breaks, that kind of thing. And Lilian, he's got to be up there for a couple of stage wins, I would think. EF, I'm not going to say all that, sorry. It's basically Rigoberto Urán. Really cool team, this one, guys. Like, I think these guys are going after the TTT. They do not want to lose much time there. That's why you've got Taylor Phinney there. It's why you've got Lawson Craddock there. Sepp Van Mark will clearly be Rigoberto's right-hand man on that Roubaix stage. I am really excited to see what these guys can do. For me, they're interesting. Speaking of interesting. Yeah, Fortunato Samsic. I mean, you would think Warren Barguil would be their headliner here, but watching him at the Dauphiné recently, I can't really see him doing too well. I mean, he was, to be very nice, he did not live up to expectations.
It's hard to know what these guys are aiming for.
I haven't really seen too much of them from this year. I mean, Warren Barguil won 2 stages in the polka dot jersey last year. I haven't really seen anything close to that kind of form this year. Be surprised to see them getting many results, to be honest.
These guys clearly have a target. It is Mr. Demar. He is searching for a stage, I reckon early on. These guys are gunning for an early win to try and get the French right on board behind the Tour. Be under no illusion, this is a sprint train, and that's how Demar wins. He wins with high-speed sprints, and that's what these guys are going to go for. I'm actually really excited to see the sprint competition this year because of these guys.
Exciting. I mean, Katusha Alpecin, you've got Marcel Kittel, one of the best sprinters in the world, hands down. But interestingly enough, you've got quite a mix here. I mean, you've got obviously Kittel and a lot of sprinters, sprint train riders built around him, but you obviously have Ilnur Zakarin, who's a GC rider as well. He's done quite well here in the past, or other Grand Tours. So I'd be surprised. I mean, they've gone for they're sort of chasing 2 rabbits here. I'd be surprised to see Ilnur Zakarin particularly well supported. I think it's all for Kittel.
Yeah, Lotto Soudal. Again, this is another one. Greipel hasn't had a huge... So this is a sprint team, guys. 100% sprint team. No 2 ways about it. Behind Andre Greipel. Their highlight of the year is probably not the Tour.
Lotto Jumbo, again, they've got a bit of a split squad here. So you've got Primoz Roglic. He's won a lot of the shorter 1-week tours this year. So he's obviously very good as a GC rider. However, a 3-week tour, it's a different beast, as we saw with Simon Yates in the Giro this year, imploding on stage 18 or so. And then you've also got Dylan Groenewegen, excellent sprinter. So they've got a GC and a
it's another split team, isn't it?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they go. I really love Primoz. Love to see them do pretty well.
No two ways. These guys are here for Adam Yates. If you'd asked the director 6 months ago, they would have been here for Caleb Ewan, but Yates has shown that they think he can win the tour, and that is the lineup that they have. It's a strong TTT team. They will definitely try and get some time there. Look, maybe Impey bobs up for a stage somewhere, but
would love to see that happen. Yeah. South African champion, be pretty awesome.
Weapon bloke.
But yeah, they don't have a lot of climbers on this team. Movistar, this is the this is the Trident, the old three-pronged attack. It'd be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, you've got Quintana, you've got Mikel Landa, and you've also got Alejandro Valverde. Be interesting to see how 3 leaders go. I mean, 2, as we've seen in the past, has really pushed it with a lot of teams. These guys have obviously gone for 3. So I wonder how the team politics is going to play out with that. Obviously, incredibly experienced and incredibly well-rounded GC riders, but having 3 of them, I wonder if that's a bit much or.
If you like soap operas, that's your team. That's gonna implode.
Surely.
Like I said with the other lotto, these guys look. This is a funny team. It's a super strong classics team. They are chasing stages. They're going to chase stages through Fernando Gaviria. He's pointing me back here. We thought we weren't even on camera. So there's that, and also Julian Alaphilippe. He's absolutely another guy who can hunt a stage here. Super strong team. Not here for the yellow jersey under any illusion,
but a very strong, very well-rounded classics team. Team Sky, I think, obviously the strongest team here. They've brought a very strong mountain squad. You've obviously got Chris Froome is leading. You've got Geraint Thomas, who's fresh off his win at the Dauphiné. And you've got his sort of hit squad of super domestiques. Plural.
This team is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's got more than one super domestique, which I find just incredible. And they've also got Luke Ray to guide him through the cobblestones. He's a very handy bike rider. He knows what he's doing. So I mean, he's going to be tired from the Giro, but hard to see him beaten here.
Team Sunweb, split team. And I reckon they don't actually know what they're doing yet. So Dumoulin is a yellow jersey possibility. Matthews is a stages / green jersey possibility. I'd suggest they'll work this out as it goes along. Like, Tendam is there for Dumoulin. Nicholas Arndt is there for Michael Matthews. There's no way they can fight both battles. They're not that strong. I think it'll go towards the stages, but that's...
Very much. I'd be surprised if Dumoulin can back up after a previous Grand Tour. Another split squad here. I mean, you've got Bauke Mollema, which is Trek Segafredo's goal for the GC here. You've got guys like Jesper Stuyven to guide him around the cobbled stage. And then you also have... I mean, Jesper's going to be a super domestique here, I think, in that he can do a lot of things. He's going to be looking after John Degenkolb for the sprints as well. I think John Degenkolb, haven't seen much of him this year. I know he's been doing fairly well recently, but not having a lot of wins. But yeah, very much a split squad.
Pumped to see Wanty there, not just because they have the best handlebar tape in the peloton. Look, these guys will definitely trying to be in breaks. They'll probably ride slightly different to the Pro Conti French teams. They'll chase the flat stages, be a little bit more aggressive in that part of the game. Really excited for them. Don't know a lot about the guys in the team.
No, I mean, you've got Dion Smith. He's a New Zealander. He raced this last year, so not making his tour debut. He's got a bit of experience. I'd love to see him do fairly well this year. UAE, again, another split squad. I mean, you've got Dan Martin, I think, was second. You can correct me if I'm wrong, at the Dauphiné this year. And then you also have Alexander Kristoff. So you've very much got a GC and a sprint battle here, very similar to a lot of other teams. It's not generally the way you'd go if you want to win the race overall. I'd be interested to see how these guys go. I mean, Dan Martin he's struggled when he hasn't had a lot of support in the past. So I'd be interested to see how they're going with such a small number of riders per team now with one rider reduced per. I mean, the Movistar Trident is going to be incredible.
Very fascinating.
But I'm excited to see some really hectic mountain stages. You've got a very short stage. I can't remember which one it is. It's later in the tour with a grid start. That's going to be incredibly exciting. Top 20 riders setting up before anyone else.
Just hold that thought because we'll wait. Are we getting audio back, Luke?
It's in the feed. It's coming back.
It's coming back because I reckon that's a really cool point about the grid stage. If you want to quickly talk about the grid stage. We'll pop over and see you very soon, Antoine. We're not far away here, just stuck in terrible traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we good?
We're back. Audio is back.
Sweet ass.
What are you kind of looking forward to out of all that, Angus?
Yeah, sorry. So as I was saying before, the GC battle is really going to intrigue me. I mean, you've got 4, 5, maybe even more realistically challenging for an overall, as in first place overall victory, not a podium. I'm talking about the yellow jersey winner here. You've got a wider range contending for the podium, but I'm very excited to see how that's going to play out with so many who are actually contesting it. And also very excited to see, I can't remember what stage it is, later in the race there's a grid start, so they'll start the first 20 riders off before everyone else.
Yep.
Very short mountain stage, I believe it's under 100 k's, it's the shortest mountain stage that they've done in a very long time. So yeah, very excited to see how that's going to play out. I'd be interested to see if Movistar can get all 3 of their riders in the top 20 and just launch it out of the gate there and see if they can just blow the race to bits. That would just be awesome.
Now that flashing that you can see there, that's actually some of the cars that are coming past us here, where we are seated.
Yes.
That's nothing to do with a spotlight issue that we're having.
We are standing in the middle of the road here. People are getting a bit aggressive.
Purely traffic issue. Guys, what I would actually like to say is, just in terms of what I'm really looking forward to, because and it's not until you kind of go through those teams, right, and you look at them and you go, okay, everyone's down, as you guys know. So what they've done is they've taken the teams down from 9 riders to 8 riders. So they're down to 8 riders. And then this cobbled sector, right? So all the GC teams have gone out there and said, okay, well, we need to put a rider, a cobble specialist with our GC guy. So there's another guy on your team. So what that seems to have done is actually weakened a lot of the team's abilities in the mountains and in those other stages. So my hope from basically what they've done there is this could hopefully explode in the 3rd week because guys will have less help. And I think that's the thing that has been causing this sort of formulaic tour over the last few years.
Definitely.
And
before we move on a second, I just want to answer Brandon's question. He's popped a real cracker up there, which is thoughts on Bernal doing his own thing if Geraint and Froome crack. Now, I mean, Bernal, he's just won the Tour of California. He's obviously a phenomenal climber.
So this is very young.
Very young. He's 21.
Colombian
he's
guy,
21,
right?
22 years old. I mean, he's pretty much the same, a year older than I am, which is just incredible to be at that level. I would love to see him win a stage. He's pretty much guaranteed not to have any freedom whatsoever on the team that he's on. I think if Geraint and Froome crack and he can last the distance, I mean, I'm yet to see him really die over a long race. So he hasn't raced a Grand Tour before. I'd love to see him. I mean, he's a pretty awesome guy. He seems like a great character. I'd love to see him get up there on some mountain stages. I mean, he's definitely capable of winning some.
Yeah.
And getting really high GC placing be pretty awesome. I mean, I rate the guy. I think he's got big things coming.
So we'll come back to the questions. We'll finish with the questions just before we actually, we explode because we're losing lights as we go. But Angus, you thought you'd just have a quick chat about, so to kind of set the scene here, guys, Angus is moving his 2nd year of racing NRS stuff, and that's kind of where Nero KOM is. That's where we're based, and we're trying to feed guys then up, eventually, obviously, to this kind of thing. And there is a great example of that in this race.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be pretty spectacular in that regard. I mean, I'm pretty excited for the whole thing. I've got a couple more questions about Bernal coming through. No.
Paddy Bevan.
Oh, Paddy Bevan, for sure. I mean,
that's where I was leading that whole intro.
I've missed the whole thing, reading all the questions. Paddy Bevan, I mean, I've seen him come through the NRS. I mean, I followed it before I was in the National Road Series. Interesting fact: him and I actually share the same birthday. But he won the NRS in 2015, so fairly recent. He's been in the World Tour for 2.5 years, so fairly new to the whole thing. He raced in the NRS for a couple of years before he went over to Cannondale as his first team. He now rides for BMC. He's had some cracking results. I mean, he came third in the prologue at Paris-Nice this year, which pretty much blew me away. I was surprised to see such a high level result. So I'd love to see him getting up there. He's going to be riding in support of Richie.
So was he riding an NRS team?
Yes.
And then into a World Tour?
Correct.
team?
So essentially what's happened is he raced in a continental NRS team. So he raced for Avanti, currently Benelong Swiss Wellness.
Yep.
So he rode for them. He won the NRS overall. However, that's not what got him his World Tour contract. It's more the fact that he had some cracking results overseas. So I think he came second overall at the Tour de Korea.
Yep.
He had a lot of very high level results overseas, which is where his World Tour contract has come from. So he's progressed through the NRS, right up to the top end of it, where he's on a team that actually takes him overseas, still racing the NRS at the same time. And then his overseas results, I think, of what have allowed him to progress. But he's obviously a very well-rounded rider. He's an incredibly good time trialist. Had a couple of top 10s at the Dauphiné and sprint stages as well. So he's just a powerhouse. I mean, I remember watching him pull a 2-hour turn at the TDU. But
this is a massive thing for his career, because basically, like, BMC guys, like, they're on their death knell, right? So I know that's probably a bit cycly chatty, but so this is a team that may not exist in 6 months. So this is possibly the team's last chance to win the tour. And out of the 7 guys to protect their one hope, Paddy Bevan is one of them, which is such a cool story.
Yeah,
guys, go ahead, follow him
awesome
through this race, because it's such a cool story.
Yeah.
All right, so keep an eye on Paddy. We will answer any questions that are coming up over the next couple of minutes.
Anything you've got, fire away. We're happy to answer.
Oh God, a car just went through me, I think.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's shocking. All right, very good. The only other thing, so I am really looking forward to the team time trial. A lot of the squads have just made a massive effort to go after it, because I think they all know that there is minutes in that team time trial for their GC guys.
It's 34 kilometres or something. I mean, it's not going to be seconds that decide it. I think it's going to be quite a stretch. I mean, if you have a top level team, Team Sky, BMC, that sort of thing, and you're competing up against a UAE Team Emirates who don't really have a team time trial squad, I think they're going to be putting a couple of minutes into other teams, which for someone like Dan Martin is going to be disastrous, because he's not really going to be able to make that up at any point, I don't think.
No. All right. So
I think I've got to say as well, I believe it's stage 9, the cobble stage. I'm incredibly excited for stage 9. I mean, He's got, has Froome won at Heffron? No, I can confirm that he has not. Had a couple of Sky Riders race there in the past with some pretty respectable results. Yeah, Chris Sutton. But no, Froome is not actually won Heffron, which is...
it's a big gaping gap.
They say if you can win at Heffron, you can win anywhere. Yeah. So Froome is obviously the exception to that rule, because he hasn't won at Heffron, but he does pretty well.
We've lost audio, I think. Again,
audio gone?
Oh, okay. Let us know when it's back, and we can do a little song and dance. But I think we will try and wrap this up in some way. Shape or form. Oh, we're back. We have audio. Audio is back. Okay. So here is the plan from now on in, guys. We are going to do a show on Monday. Are we going to do a show on Monday? We're doing a show on Monday. We're doing a show on Monday, at which point we will talk about the first 3 stages, which actually, yes. The answer to that question is yes. So we'll do those first 3 stages, and look, we'll try and pick out like the things that have happened from the racing perspective, like how the sprint unfolded and all that sort of stuff. Fly some ideas in here about some segments that we can do. Can someone get on to Angus Wilson's employer and let him out of his place of employment an hour early so he can join us for the bus stop?
The bus stop.
Which is, we're going to have an intro sequence for that.
Yes, please.
And finally, obviously, we have no kind of corporate backing or anything for this yet. We are more than willing to sell ourselves. Quite happy. No issues with being complete sellouts. If you want to like put some money there or no issues at all. Oh, look at the light! It's just
brilliant.
About to explode.
And
so that
to wrap it up, I'm going to say not who do you think, but who would you like to see? Not necessarily win, but who would you like to see have a really good ride or a particularly good stage result overall, anything like that? Who do you want to see do well?
I want to see Richie win the tour.
Yeah, agreed. He's obviously very good at this kind of thing. He has one bad day. He can't string a 3-week tour together without having one bad day. But I think he's older. He's hopefully got a bit more endurance. I'd love to see him really, really getting up there this year.
Okay, before I go completely invisible, we are going to bid you all farewell. We will see you on Monday, assuming we fix that light. And until then, we are going to play an outro sequence.
Thanks for watching.
Nice to see you guys. Thanks very much. Anyone actually.
Where's that camera actually?
It's up here.
Oh, it's that one.
So we peaked out at 169 people.
Sweet, that's actually pretty reasonable.
Pretty good.
Nice work.
I'm going to stop the stream now. Bye, goodbye.
Oh, was that still going?
Yeah, I put it back to the room camera.